Hi everyone, myself Dr. Preeti Tallur. So in the second video that you have learnt about Woodward-Fisher rule for calculating the lambda max of conjugated dienes. So today we are going to discuss about the Woodward rule used to calculate the lambda max of alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compounds and the application of UV spectroscopy. Okay, so what is alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound? Okay, so this is, I mark this is alpha position and the beta position. So the inorganic compound which have carbon oxygen double bond is in conjugation with carbon carbon double bond. So I will repeat once again what is unsaturated carbonyl compound, that is carbon oxygen double bond is in conjugation with carbon carbon double bond called alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound. So next, this is marked as a alpha carbon, this is marked as a beta carbon. So here I have written R. What is R? If you take R is equal to H. If R is H, then this compound become unsaturated alpha beta unsaturated aldehyde. So if you take H, it's become aldehyde. Just I will replace and I will write it. So we can see here C double bond O H. So it is aldehyde. In next, if I replace R with OH, so it's alpha beta unsaturated carboxylic acid. So now I will replace this R again by CH3 group, that is methyl group. So if R is methyl group, then it is become alpha beta unsaturated ketones. Next, if I replace R with alkoxy group, OCH3 group, so it's become R is OCH3 group, so it become alpha beta unsaturated esters. Okay, I will repeat once again. If R is H, then that compound is alpha beta unsaturated aldehyde. If R is OH, it's become alpha beta unsaturated carboxylic acid. If you take R methyl group, it is alpha beta unsaturated ketone. If you take R is a alkoxy group, then that compound is alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl ester. Okay, we will move to the Woodward-Fisher rule. So he again give some basic value to calculate the lambda max of the unsaturated carbonyl compounds. First, the basic value, the first one, if it is acyclic alpha beta unsaturated ketone, then the basic value is equal to 115 nanometer. Okay, then the second one, if it is six membered alpha beta unsaturated ketone, then again the value remains same, that is 215 nanometer. Okay, then the third one, if it is five membered alpha beta unsaturated ketone, the value is 202 nanometer. Then the fourth one, if it is alpha beta unsaturated aldehyde, that is equal to 207 nanometer. So the last one, if it is alpha beta unsaturated carboxylic acid and esters, the value is 193 nanometer. In some book they have given 195. So I will repeat once again. So the basic value is given here: acyclic or alpha beta, acyclic alpha beta unsaturated ketone 250 nanometer, 6 membered alpha beta unsaturated ketone 215, 5 membered alpha beta unsaturated ketone 202 nanometer, and alpha beta unsaturated aldehyde 207 nanometer, and that of carboxylic acid and ester 193. So in some books it given 194. So you can take 193 for calculation or you can take 195. So this is the first, that is the basic value. Next we will move to the increment. Okay, the second one, increment for each substituent. Alkyl or ring residue at alpha position. Alkyl or ring residue at alpha position, then the increment given is plus 10 nanometer. Okay. Then if alkyl or ring residue at beta position, the increment given is plus 12 nanometer. The next third one is, if it is exocyclic double bond, this is plus 5 nanometer increment is given. The next double bond extending conjugation is plus 30 nanometer. So next, the fifth one, homoannular conjugated diene is plus 39 nanometer. So this is the first, you check it for the basic value. So then you have to check it for the increment for each substituent. If the alkyl group or ring residue is at alpha position, then you have to add the value of plus 10. If it is at beta position, then plus 12. So exocyclic double bond plus 5 nanometer, and that of double bond extending the conjugation plus 30, and the fourth, that is the fifth one, if it is homoannular conjugated diene plus 39 nanometer, you have to add to the parent value. So we'll move to the next, that is third one, presence of oxochromes. You have to check it for whether oxochromes present or not. Each oxochrome has the value. So the oxochromes, they may be present at alpha position or beta position. So we'll make the column here, oxochromes, then at alpha position or beta position. Okay, first we'll take the oxochrome OH group. So at alpha position the value is plus 35, and at the beta position 30 nanometer. So next Cl, it is plus 15 nanometer at alpha position, and at beta position plus 12. Then Br, so it is 25 nanometer, and at beta position you have to give the value of 35. Then we will take OR, the OR is at plus 35 and 30. Then OAC, it is plus 6. Okay, these are the basic, that is the value is given for the oxochromes. If the oxochrome, the OH group is present at alpha position, you have to add plus 35 nanometer to the basic value. So check it, if it is in beta position, then you have to add plus 30. Same thing with the chlorine, if it is at alpha position, plus 15 and beta position plus 12. Same thing, you have to write it for the Br, Or and Oc. So when the structure is given to you, first you have to decide which is the basic value. Then you have to go for the second point, that is increment given for each substituent. Then you have to go for the third point, that is the oxochrome. Based on the position of the oxochrome, you have to add the value to the basic. So we will solve some examples. Okay, so this is the first example. Now check it for the basic. So here this is C double bond OH, it is a aldehyde. It's a aldehyde. So what is the alpha beta unsaturated aldehyde value? It is a 207. The basic value for unsaturated aldehyde is 207. So write it, basic value, basic 207 nanometer. Then check for the substituent. So we have two substituent, the methyl group, this is one methyl group and second methyl group at the beta position. So now write it, two alkyl substituent at beta position, So for each substituent it is 12 into 2, it's a 24. Okay, then check it for anything. So we have only the basic value and the two alkyl substituent at the beta position. Then the total lambda max is 231 nanometer. 231 nanometer. So we will take some more example. I will substitute Cl here, then CH3. Okay, now check it. So check for the basic. Here the basic is the ketone alpha beta, that is acyclic alpha beta unsaturated ketone. So for unsaturated ketone, the basic value is 215. You have to write it, the basic value plus 215 is a 215. So now check it for the substituent. So you can see here at the alpha position there is a chlorine substituent. So you have to write the chlorine Cl at alpha position. So what is the, it is now oxochrome. At what position Cl is present? At alpha position. What is the value? That is plus 15. So first 15, you have to write plus 15. Then you can check it for the substituent beta position. We have two substituent at the beta position, alkyl substituent at the beta position. So you have to write it, two alkyl substituent at beta position. So that is for one substituent 12. So 12 into 2, 24 plus add 24. Okay, then total lambda max is equal to 254 nanometer. 254 nanometer. Okay, so now I'll change again. I'll take one more example. So what we have learned? We have taken the aldehyde, then we have taken the ketone, then we'll move to the carboxylic acid. So I'll just write OH here. So what is this? OH indicates COOH, it's a carboxylic acid, alpha beta unsaturated carboxylic acid. So what is the basic value here? So you can replace this Cl with Br. So write it, Br. Okay, now first what is the basic value here? The basic value here for aldehyde is 200 and for the carboxylic acid, the basic value for the carboxylic acid is 200 and it is 193. So just make the correction. For the alpha beta unsaturated carboxylic acid, the basic value is 193. So I said earlier, in some book they have taken 195. If you take 195, you can calculate, there is no problem. Okay, then go for the substituent. So we have at alpha position, the bromine at alpha position. So at alpha position, it has value of 25 nanometer. So now we will come to now you can see here. So there is at beta position one methyl group is there, one methyl group, one alkyl group at beta. Okay, one alkyl group at beta, it's a plus 12, one alkyl group. So here one alkyl group plus 12. So total the lambda max is 230. So here the basic value is 193 and bromine at alpha position 25 and one alkyl group at the beta position 12. So it is 230 nanometer. Okay, so we learnt about the acyclic, everything is open chain structure. We will move to some ring structure. Okay, so now this is the 6-membered ring ketone. It is a alpha beta unsaturated ketone, but it is a 6-membered. Okay, now you have to, this is alpha position and this is the beta position. So what is the basic value here? It is a cyclic compound, 6-membered. So the basic value is 215 nanometer, 215 nanometer. Now check it for the substituent. You have the substituent at alpha position. So the OH group, the OH is at alpha position. Okay, if the OH is at alpha position, the value should be added plus 35. Then here it is a cyclic structure, so you have to check it for the ring residue. So we have one ring residue here. So one ring residue at alpha position, it is at beta position. One ring residue at beta position, so it is plus 12. Okay, so this is a 6-membered alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl ketone. So here it's a ketone. So the basic value is 215 and the at alpha position the OH group is there. So plus 35 is added and we have one ring residue here. So at beta position plus 12. So the total is 262 nanometer. The total is 262 nanometer. So this is the total lambda max. Okay, so you can take more structures. So this is alpha beta. So here you can see here this is a 5-membered ring. So this is 5-membered cyclic ketone, alpha beta unsaturated ketone. So what is the basic value here? Basic value 202 nanometer. So there is no substituent, we will just introduce one substituent here. So I will introduce OH. Okay, so now there is a OH at beta position. So that is equal to, so we know that OH at beta position is plus 30 nanometer Then you check for the ring residue. Here we have the one ring residue. One ring residue. Okay, so ring residue at beta position, ring residue at beta position. So it is 12. It is 12. So the total lambda max here 244 nanometer. 244 nanometer. Okay, I'll take one last example. So I solved this example. So in the students you have to practice taking different example. You can substitute different substituent. You can substitute chlorine at alpha position or beta position, bromine at alpha and beta, hydroxyl group as delta delta we are not going to cover in delta position here. So you can take OH group is at beta position or at alpha position. So you can take OR group, they are at 35 or at beta position 30. So you can changing the substituent, changing the oxochrome, you can practice how to calculate the lambda max for the given structure. Okay. Now this is about the Woodward-Fisher rule. So you know that how it is in some book even they go Woodward-Fisher rule to calculate lambda max of enones, that is the thing but ketones. So if in the exam if you have like they asked about enones, you have to consider it is a ketones. So now by applying this Fisher rule you can calculate lambda max for the given structure. So now we will talk about the application of UV spectroscopy. So UV spectroscopy is extensively used in research laboratories, in teaching and in analytical lab also. It is used to find out the presence or absence of conjugated double bonds in the compound. It is also used in the distinguish to distinguish the alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compounds from beta gamma analogues. It is used to detect the functional group also. So if this technique is used to measure the presence of chromophores. So if any particular band is absent at the particular wavelength, so that indicates the absence of that band or absence of that group in the compound. So it is also used to check the purity of the sample. UV spectroscopy is used to structural elucidation of vitamin A and K. So it is used in the quantitative analysis. This is very important. So UV spectroscopy is used to measure the concentration of the sample. So if you don't know the concentration of the sample, then you have to take the standard solution, standard samples. The standard samples means you have to prepare the solution whose concentration is known. Then you have to take the UV that is absorbance, UV absorbance. So once you get the absorbance, then you have to plot the graph, because we know that standard solution, in standard solution we know the concentration of the solution, then we have taken the absorption. So then you have to plot the graph absorbance versus concentration Okay, when you take the reading for the standard solution, you will get the straight line passing through the origin. So this is called calibration curve. Okay, so now you will take the unknown unknown concentration of the sample, then take the OD, that is absorption of that unknown sample. So we will get the absorbance. Corresponding to that absorbance, you can calculate the concentration. So it is very helpful in the research work. So in quantitative analysis, the UV spectroscopy helps a lot. So if you want to detect the impurities, even you can use the UV spectroscopy. So in the determination of molecular weight also UV spectroscopy is using, and in the keto tautomeric, there also we use the UV spectroscopy. We will take the example ethyl esteoestate. So, in ethyl esteoestate, so it has a both keto form and enol form. So, this is the structure for ethyl esteoestate. Okay. So, this is keto form, this is keto form. This is enol form. So, ethyl acetate, it is in the keto form and this is in the enol form. Okay, in keto form there is a C double bond O, and in the enol form the one of the hydrogen is transferred to here. So, it is double bond, that is a enol form. So, when you will get the spectra, if you get the lambda max 275 nanometer, and if you get the lambda max, that is 244 nanometer. So, now when you get the absorbance 275 nanometer, we can say that the ethyl esteoate is in a keto form. If you get the lambda max, the absorption maximum 244, then we can say that ethyl esteoate is in a enol form. So, lot of application is there UV. So, in identification of the compound, we use the UV spectroscopy. So, you match the standard spectra with the unknown. So, if it is matched, then we can say that this is the name of the compound. So, one important application of the UV spectroscopy is identification of cis and trans form. Okay, we will take the example here, that is the identification of cis and trans form. Okay, see this is a synamic structure. So, this is a written cis form and the trans form. So, cis form means the two groups on the same side, it is a cis form. Here the same groups on the opposite side, so it is a trans form. But when you see the wavelength here, the cis form absorb at 268 nanometer and the trans form absorb at 272 nanometer. So, synamic acid is in both the form, it exists in both the form, cis form and the trans form, but there only change in the absorption wavelength, including this extension coefficient, that epsilon max also changes. What is the reason? You can see here the trans form absorb at longer wavelength with higher extension coefficient than the cis form. What is the reason here? The first reason, in the trans form, the overlapping of the pi orbital is effective, that is the overlapping of the pi orbital is effective, which brings the coplanarity in the molecule. So, this is coplanar. Okay. In trans form, you can see here the two bulky groups on the same side of the double bond. So, this carboxy-COOH group and this C6H3 are the bulky groups, they are present on the same side of the double bond. So, these bulky group distort the geometry of the molecule. So, they distort the geometry of the compound. That is why the trans form absorb at longer wavelength and the cis form at shorter wavelength. So, this from the UV spectroscopy, using the UV spectroscopy, we can identify the trans form and the cis form. In this video, I am talking about how to calculate the lambda max value for alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound, taking the Woodward-Fisher rule. So, now I think now you are perfect how to calculate the lambda max for the given structure, and I am also highlighted the application of UV spectroscopy. So, thank you very much for watching the video.